Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 28th of October. Okay, in what's going to be a busy week with the Feds and the Bank of Canada and Brexit still going on in the background there and lots of other factors. Let's see what we've got in store here today. So euro dollar. Daily wise it's been rolling and Friday was no exception. Continuation pivot swing sort of move bearish. That daily 200 looks more and more likely. We've seen it pitch up through the Asian session here and it could push up further. The weekly pivots just above, it's not many pips above, but it's above and it may be sufficient to draw. It's just running to the daily pivot at the moment. Maybe a patience game this morning if you're trading the euro, to see if it can break this level here up to what is effectively the R1. From that point I would be looking at potentially selling. It's got a higher low in at this point here. It would be nice to work it off a little bit more. If it starts selling off quickish this morning, well, maybe then we'll be looking for the day's S1 and whatever lays beneath, like that daily 21 for example, that's sitting at 1065, the pivot's sitting at 1060, so the pivot's just below that 21 if you're aiming that way, so just be aware. Not a lot of pips at all if it does start rolling, but still it's in shape, so we'll see how that works out. Now looking at the pound then. So pound again, another a couple of days down again. It's got the weekly pivot above, no surprises there. Got not a lot happening today in real terms. In fact, there is a vote I think today, 25th of November. There is a vote whether they'll be allowed a general election, but I would imagine that's going to be stifled for now. So we stay in this stalemate on the Brexit, which is not what anyone really wants. On that basis, well, weekly pivot, as I said, is above. It's already all over its daily pivot here. Maybe if it rolls to the lower side there, it will be down towards Friday's lows. The S1 maybe a bit more consolidated mostly on Friday relative to what it's been like. A move to the upside at post 8 o'clock, well, we've just got to watch for the resistance into the 60-minute 50, but a break of that then sees us running towards that weekly pivot there at 28.75. Now that could run over a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, before it gets to that sort of level, so just something to watch out with. In fact, it was Thursday before it hit it last week, the weekly pivot on the pound there, but we'll see what's in store today. The euro, the pound, pretty similar shape at the moment. Dollar yen, well, daily wise the days are getting tighter and tighter in terms of range. It's becoming more of a swing move trading pair. It has its weekly pivot below, no surprise for the other two above. At the moment it looks like it's trying to pitch for further upside. If it does start rolling over with a daily pivot, would be an obvious initial target, maybe with a monthly pivot, but the range, as in the pips range of these, is very, very tight. It's only, well, it's less than 15 pips down to the 200 here, and it's, well, just about 56, 66, 76, 18 pips or so down to its daily a weekly pivot if it does start rolling over. So not, as I say, not a lot in it. It may be something that's best held rather than try to intraday trade at this juncture. Aussie dollar, another one that's slowing down. We really are seeing quite a lot of volatility come out of the currency markets at the moment, and again inside bar-ish on Friday. It may pitch a bit slightly lower, again weekly pivot slightly above, so we'll see how these work out this morning. It's had a key low area here, so we'll just see how it runs out. If it starts breaking down, it may break these lows down to the S1, maybe even further, but certainly in a downward trend at this stage. Don't forget we've got the FOMC later in the week, although a 0.25% cut's already pretty much priced in. And the New Zealand dollar. Oh no, there we go. New Zealand dollar. Let's have a look at New Zealand dollar. This was one I was looking at trying to get into at some point, and it might not be far off of a potential for the long here. I'd rather see all the markets pushed up. I don't think the New Zealand dollar's got the strength in it on its own. It's put a lower high in here on the 4 hourly, sold off quite strongly through the second half of last week. Has got as I say, the weekly pivot above, which could be a draw, and the weekly and the daily actually. And now we'll see how it runs out this morning. If these other markets start getting a bit of a canter on, get a bit of a move to the upside, the euro, the pound, perhaps the Kiwi will start its next push up there, but none of them have really got any support where they're sitting at the moment, so we could just see further downside. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. So news-wise today, the only significant news today is the I'm just looking here, 28th of October. Yep, just trying to check in the right month here. Is that parliamentary vote on whether there'll be a general election be allowed to be called for the 12th. So have a great one. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.